No, it's not another tutorial about a perfect auto rotation, not at all. Hello and welcome for today's special auto rotation out of the blue. Bad things happened unexpected and according to Murphy's law, always when it's worst. So let's take off and we go into the traffic pattern, about 500 feet AGL altitude and 80 knots airspeed for our first straight-in auto rotation. And as I mentioned a few seconds before, the purpose is not to show you a perfect auto rotation. The purpose is to show you you can bring the aircraft safe to the ground even if something goes wrong. In this case we are too late and we got too fast for the end of the runway, but we have still pilot techniques available to get the aircraft on the spot. Throttle is at idle and collective is down, so we are already in the auto rotation state, and our landing spot is right in front of us, but we are too fast, so we have the choice to reduce our airspeed or we start flying S-turns, so we can keep our airspeed high and still have the chance to get it right on the spot. Oh, what a surprise, but the chance to get an engine out directly over the runway is not that high. Most likely, of course, is its en route, where you spend the most time of your flying, and a little bit more likely it's in the traffic pattern, at any part of the traffic pattern. So let's climb to traffic pattern altitude and turning into downwind. It's a big advantage if you fly with a head tracking system, because you may have your landing spot always in sight. So we'll beam our landing spot, throttle to idle, collective down, check rotor RPM and airspeed, and start your left turn. Airspeed and sink rate are too high, and our intended landing spot is at the taxiway intersection. We can create a lift out of the airspeed in a gentle flare, so we glide forward and we get close to our intended landing point. This time we stay closer to the ground and we simulate our engine out in right turn. So right turn, low altitude, and let's see what's going on. Bank to the right, throttle to idle, and enter auto rotation. This time we stay close to the ground at high speed, so before we can touch down in the auto rotation we have to reduce our airspeed so we don't get flipped over when we touch the ground. Turn into the runway, throttle to idle, aft cyclic to start a gentle flare, and flare, flare, flare. Reduce airspeed, reducing airspeed, ballooning a little bit. Now the aircraft settles down, level off, touchdown. from low and fast to high and zero airspeed. At about 900 feet AGL, we're reducing our airspeed to zero. Throttle to idle and enter auto rotation. At this time we'll let the nose a little bit drop down to pick up some airspeed, so we can go back to 60-70 knots airspeed again, and now we are in a normal auto rotation state. This time we take off for auto rotation on a flat roof, and I'll be honest, that's the third try. So we pick up some airspeed, pick up some altitude, and then turn right over the city. The landing spot is on the right corner, so we turn in right, throttle to idle, lower collective, and get a look out of the window looking for our landing spot. It's right in front of us, it's behind the trees, so we are a little bit low but fast enough to flare and keep it straight. Flare, race collective, touchdown. Next time we start our auto rotation out of the a backwards movement, so we climb up to traffic pattern altitude or a little bit more, 900 to 1000 feet. That gives us a little bit of time for an explanation. That's my second try, because high above the ground there is no ground reference available, so it's very difficult to estimate the airspeed, and at my first try I applied too much aft cyclic. This leads to mass bumping and losing my main rotor. Beneath the pedals you can see a small part of the runway, so we have a little bit of reference concerning our movement in the air. So right now we stay at the spot and a little bit more aft cyclic, so we start our backwards movement. Throttle to idle, collective down, and because we are already at the end of the runway, we let the aircraft turn to the right and bring it back over the runway, enter normal auto rotation state, so a little bit fast. There's lots of energy in the rotor system, so even if it's not a perfect approach, there will be enough energy to bring it to a good end. When flying a helicopter, it's not only important to know where you want to go. To know where you can go in case of an engine failure or some other technical failures, it's much more important and can save your life. It may not a problem over open land or open grass, but it's a problem in mountainous terrain, over forests, and of course over congested areas like cities or towns. So in this case we're flying over the city and looking for a place where there's no landing spot available, or at least it's not so easy to find one. Here we go. Throttle to idle. Low level. No landing spots. So we get into auto rotation and looking for a place where we can go. So this looks good. Turn right. Here we are. That's an open area, so we can land safe, flare, and touchdown. A little bit too fast, but not that bad. Same approach from an outside view. Without engine power between the buildings. Flare. It's a hard flare. We touch the ground with our tail boom. So, but it's not a beauty contest. And because it's lots of fun, same thing again. It's too open in front of us, so we turn to the right. Close the throttle, back to idle, lower collective, enter auto rotation. Not sure if we made it over the building, so let's turn left. And we find our landing spot. But we have to stop in front of the building. And again, from our outside view. Approaching our landing spot. Perfect flare, level off, and a smooth touchdown. We already made a 180, so next step will be 360. So let's go to traffic pattern altitude a little bit higher. And we start a 360 auto rotation. This may be necessary if you already overflown your alternative landing spot, maybe over the forest, then the only place you can go is right behind you. So most important is a sufficient altitude. If you have sufficient altitude, you can make a 180, 360 or 3 or 4 circles before you touch the ground. Level off. Our landing spot will be the end of the runway, so it's right below us right now. So let's go back to idle, start our auto rotation descent. Okay, I'm a little bit too late with my left turn, and our airspeed is too fast, so our rate of descent is a little bit high, but okay, give it a try. Many thanks to the high inertia rotor system, we still will make it to the runway. So starting the gentle flare, reducing airspeed, and level off, touchdown. A little bit less conversation and a little bit more action. Don't think about it, just do it. It's a whole lot of fun. Even if you crash and you die on the ground, you have the reset button, start it again. So let's climb to traffic pattern altitude. This time we tried auto rotation out of a more unusual attitude. So we go direct over the runway in the right turn, but we start our auto rotation in the left turn, because that's the way what he wants to go when we get the throttle to idle. So we bank to the left, throttle to idle, and we let the nose drop down. So here we are, nose drops down, Runway is right in front of us, but this time we descend in the left spiral. So because our nose was too much down, rotor RPM was below minimum RPM, but we're back on the green line. So okay, flare, oops, level off, and touchdown. Oh, thanks God we are in a simulator, because when we pull full collective below minimum rotor RPM, there's a high chance to damage our rotor blades. So we have to change our rotor blades after any try. So next time we start our auto rotation out of a more unusual flight attitude. We do it out of an egg turn. In this case, I'm not really sure if it will work in real life, because it's really unusual. And if you have an idea about rotor aerodynamics, especially how it works in aerodynamic, I would expect a much more decrease in rotor RPM in the first 3 to 5 seconds. We get a warning light, but I'm really not sure if in real life you will survive an engine failure out of this flight attitude. So even in a simulator you get in a high stress level, so I pick up too much airspeed because I was not able to control all the instruments at the same time. So I have to flare at a higher altitude, reduce airspeed, and then try it again, lower level, again a flare, and touchdown. Not that bad. As you can see, it's easy to recover rotor RPM if you have sufficient airspeed or sufficient altitude. So you can change energy from, or you move energy from one thing to another, from airspeed to rotor RPM, from rotor RPM to flight altitude, forward and backward, as long as you have enough from at least one of both, airspeed or altitude. So let's do it again. Unusual flight attitude, close to the ground. So we gently pull back our cyclic, go into a right turn, power to idle. So we let them turn to the left. Prepare for hard landing and flare. Oops, yeah. Rotor RPM was too low and not enough energy in the rotor system, but we're on the ground, a little bit damage on the aircraft. Yeah, thank you for watching. Hope I see you next time. If you have comments or questions, please let me know in the comments below. Bye bye.